Alright, welcome everyone to the story portion of the analysis of this brand new Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer that just dropped last night from the time of this recording. So first of all, there are two cutscenes, and the first one I want to talk about isn't as monumental, but maybe more important or significant than you may think. So the first scene is that of Maleficent and Pete, who are back and at it again, who are in Olympus Colosseum asking Hades about a certain black box, the contents of which we all would love to know. Now apparently Maleficent and Pete have to have some sort of idea or guess or partial truth as to what's inside the black box that the Master of Masters and Luxu were carrying after. But I really don't think that they know exactly what's inside. I think they just have an idea, and that Maleficent thinks that it will help her in her conquest of all of the worlds and filling them with darkness and being the ruler of them all, and so on and so forth. So there's got to be something that she thinks is in there that's going to help her with that, but what is it? And again, I really don't think that she's going to know. But I think the more important story-driven aspect of this is the fact that this shows us already one of the reasons that Sora and pals will continue their journey from world to world, mostly the Disney worlds that we're going to see, is because they're going to be fighting off Maleficent and Pete and their slews of Heartless that they always bring in tow, in order to stop them from doing whatever their plans are going to be. And I think that's pretty much the most important part of that scene. And now let's get into the more heavy cutscene that we see, where we see Sora, Donald, and Goofy having an uneasy chat with Xemnas and Ansem, the Nobody and Heartless of Xehanort, just outside the gates to the abandoned mansion in Twilight Town. Here we see that Sora is seeking to somehow bring Roxas back. He's got to have some sort of idea as to how to possibly do this, and maybe he's hit a roadblock and is stuck, which is where Xemnas and Ansem come into play here, because they're trying to tempt Sora to once again give into the darkness. He did so inadvertently in Dream Drop Distance, which is why he failed his Mark of Mastery exam. But in this case, I think one big main story or character arc for Sora is going to be him overcoming the darkness. And that's why I think that this scene is going to be about mid-game, where they've gone and defeated all the Heartless in a lot of Disney worlds, and sort of defeated halfway or to some extent Maleficent and Pete in their ventures to rule the galaxy and so forth. And then we see them return to Twilight Town after having gained some sort of information on how to restore Roxas back. So I'm wondering also at this point, have we seen Ventus? Is he back? I mean, we're obviously going to see him, we just don't know when. But this also brings up another major story point which has been hinted at since Dream Drop Distance, and I've been an advocate of ever since, where Riku has a very brief conversation with three people inside Sora's heart. The first one being Roxas, then Ventus, and then Xion, which actually maybe is sort of a hint as to what order they're actually going to be restored. And then, what's even more telling is that during Riku's conversation with a Data version of Ansem the Wise tells Riku, and this is a quote, "Perhaps Sora, he has the power to bring back the hearts and existences of those connected to him. To recreate people we thought were lost to us forever. Our most precious treasures, even an empty puppet." And then he talks about other things and has a beautiful little monologue there. But he talks about bringing back hearts and existences of those connected to him. In other words, I think these three people that we see, which are Roxas, Ventus, and Xion, are all going to come back in Kingdom Hearts 3 at some point or another. Also, there is a quote from Yen Sid in 0.2 Birth by Sleep, where he says, In order to defeat Xehanort, there are allies we must gather, acting now to rouse them from their slumber. And then he goes on to say, your Mark of Mastery exam was conducted in the hopes you would acquire the power to wake them. And then he goes on to say his powers were stripped, he failed, yada yada, has to start over, and so on. So basically, I think, like I mentioned before, a big story arc for Sora is going to be him overcoming the darkness and thus gaining the ability of awakening, which is key in bringing back Roxas, Ventus, and Xion. And I think one of the reasons why we kind of see Sora's face a little surprised and perhaps a little tempted at the end there when we see Xemnas tell him that he's going to have to give into the darkness to restore them is because he's sort of failed, he's hit that roadblock again, and he doesn't know exactly where to go from there. So he sees that the Heartless and Nobody coexist at the same time as Xehanort himself, so he must think, okay, how did they do it? Because they obviously know how to do it, but that's obviously not going to be the way that Sora is going to have to do that. So to kind of recap, we see a big cutscene involving the purpose of Maleficent and Pete, and probably a big reason we're traveling from Disney World to Disney World in the beginning of the game, as well as a pretty heavy cutscene involving and revealing the fact that we're trying to restore Roxas, and by extension, most likely, Ventus and indeed Xion. So those are my analyses for this video. Let me know what you guys think about these key plot points that have been revealed to us. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Am I completely off my rocker? Am I dead on? Anything I missed? Give us a like and subscribe if you want more content like this, and we'll catch you next time.